Before we start the class, let us recite the Mangalacharan. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimrandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Tadandi Swapadandikam Mandeham Shri Gurum Shri Udapata Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Vidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Ladida Shri Vishakam Vidam हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपदे गोपेश गोपिका कांदा राधा कांदा नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरि ओम तत्सत। हरे कृष्णा। So which was the module that we took last time? It was fourth, I suppose, right? Let me share the screen. Week 4, yeah. So we were discussing about the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So we'll just read from the passage once again. 2 paras we have completed. Anyway, we'll start from beginning. Was there any sloka for by hearting?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Which was that?
Karpanya dosho.
Yeah, please recite that.
Karpanya dosho pahata svabhavaha prichami tvam dharma sammoda cheta yashreyasha nishtitam bruhi tanme shishyaste hamsadimam tvam prapannam.
Who else? Who else has learned?
Prabhuji,
Yeah, please.
Prabhuji, I can tell.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Karpanya dosho pahata svabhavaha prichami pandharva sambodha cheta yasheyasham nishtitam bruhi tanmai shishyastiham shanti ma prapapandam.
Haribol. Who else?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I also know, I will tell.
Please.
Karpanya dosho pahata svabhava prishchami tvam tam dharma sampurna cheta yasche yasha nishchita dhruvi tanme shishyaste samta tvam tam prapannam.
Haribol. Who else?
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। कार्पण्य दोषोपहत स्वभाव पृच्छामि त्वं धर्म समुद्रचेता यच्चयन्नस्थितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं साधिमां त्वं प्रपन्नम्।
Haribol. Anyone else?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare
Can
Krishna.
I recite?
Yeah.
Karpanya dosho bahadasvabhavah prichami tvam dharma sammoda cheta yashreyasha nistitam bruhi tanme shishyaste hamsadimam tvam prapannam.
Haribol. Anyone else? Okay. Then we will learn one more shloka for next week. That is Bhagavad Gita as it is, 2nd chapter, 14th verse. So please repeat after me. Matra sparshastu kaunteya. Sitoshna sukha dukkadha. Agam appayino anityas. Stam sthitikshasva bharata. Matra sparshas tu kaunteya. Sitoshna sukha dukkha da. Agama payino anityas. Tam sthitikshasva bharata. The translation is, O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O son of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. Okay, so please learn this sloka, Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 2, text 14. Okay, very good. Now, so we'll start from the passage. The transcendental vibration established by the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare is the sublime method for reviving our transcendental consciousness. So we have learned in our earlier classes, for each yuga there are a specific method or process by which we can attain salvation or liberation. Kuvira, can you tell me what was the process during Satya Yuga?
Meditation.
Meditation. And Raga Mataji, what was the process in Treta Yuga?
Yajna.
Yajna. And Advait Prabhu, what was the recommended process in Dwapara Yuga?
Paricharyayam.
Paricharyayam. Elaborate temple.
Paricharya.
Yes. Elaborate temple worship. Paricharya. Okay. And in the age of Kali Yuga, who wants to say?
I can say.
Yes, please.
We have to chant Maha Mantra Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Very good. Hari Bol. Why not any other mantra? There are so many mantras. Why only Hare Krishna Maha Mantra? Why specifically this mantra?
Because in Kali Yuga, people have no time, less time. They cannot do yajna and tap. So this mantra they can, wherever they are, they can chant this mantra.
Very good. And apart from this, what other specialities? There are so many other mantras. Why not any other mantras?
All mantras included in this particular Maha Mantra. That's why we have to chant only this one.
Yeah. No, one more speciality is there.
We can chant anywhere, anytime. There is no regular rules and regulation to chant.
Yes, very well. So there are no rules and regulations to chant this mantra. Other Vedic mantras, we cannot chant anytime, any person, any circumstances. Those mantras are governed by rules and regulation. For example, Gayatri Mantra, all people cannot chant.
Chant loudly.
Secret mantra,
we cannot chant loudly in everywhere, every place.
We cannot chant this loudly, and it has to be chanted only by qualified people, Brahmanas. Okay, we should have some qualification to chant all other Vedic mantras. But this mantra is the king of all the mantras. That's why it is called Maha Mantra. So there's no caste, color, creed restriction. Anybody, anytime, any circumstances, anywhere, no restrictions at all. So this is the very speciality of this mantra. And by chanting this mantra, it is, as Mataji rightly said, it is as good as chanting all other mantras. All other mantras are included in this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And this is the mantra recommended for all of us, conditioned souls, in the age of Kali. And this has been very specifically given in which Upanishad? Kuvira, which Upanishad?
Kali-Santarana Upanishad.
Yes,
Kali-Santarana Upanishad.
Santarana Upanishad, it has been given. Okay. So these are some points that we have to understand. Some people may ask, there are so many mantras. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Narayana, we can chant this, there is no harm. But when we get more benefit by chanting this recommended Mahamantra, which is specifically meant for this age of Kali, why not take advantage of that? There's no harm in chanting Om Narayana, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva. But when we are getting more benefits by chanting this mantra or Vishnu Sahasranama, so we can chant this Hare Krishna mantra and get multifold benefits. That's why Kali Sandana Upanishad has recommended this particular mantra for the people in the age of Kali, because we are all conditioned souls, fallen souls. So as living souls, we are originally Krishna conscious entities, but due to our association with matter from time immemorial, our consciousness is now adulterated by the material atmosphere. Because now our consciousness is material consciousness. We have to slowly and gradually, by chanting this mantra, by reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, by associating with pure devotees, by going to pilgrimage to different dhams, we have to revive our material consciousness to Krishna consciousness. So this is the process. The material atmosphere in which we are living is called Maya or illusion. Maya means that which is not. So Maya means that which is not permanent, that which is temporary. Okay, so we think that the place where we are living is always going to be there, and we are going to be there. This is our illusion. And the happiness or the enjoyment that we are experiencing is going to be there forever. So in this illusion we are living. Every day we are living. Although we know that we will not live forever, eternally, but this is an illusion. So to make us believe the temporary things permanent, that is Maya. That is Maya's job. We know it very well, but still we don't accept it. We live a life, oh, I'm going to be here permanently in this material world. I'm going to enjoy this material world forever. That is the illusion. So illusion is that we are trying to be lords of material nature, while actually we are under the grip of her stringent laws. And moreover, we are trying to become the masters of this material world. Okay? We want to lord over the material nature. I want to become the boss of everybody. I is the prominent position. So this is Maya. So, but unfortunately, although we are trying to enjoy the material nature in that position, we come under the clutches of Maya, grip of Maya. The Maya's laws are very, very stringent. We cannot surpass that Maya. When a servant artificially tries to imitate the all-powerful master, he is said to be in illusion. Suppose there is a servant, okay? What is his job? He has to serve the master. Okay, the king is there and the servant is there. When the king goes away, outside, if that servant enjoys his bedroom, sleeps on his bed, mattress, and if the king comes there without his notice, what will happen to the servant? He'll be fired, right? He is not supposed to enjoy the property of his master. So this material world is a property of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is a rehabilitation center, reformation center, for us to get reformed and go back home, back to Godhead. We are not here to enjoy the Maya. Okay? This is just a place where we can reform ourselves. Just like people in the state, when they do some sinful activities, where they are sent?
Jail, Prabhuji.
They are sent to jail. What for they are sent to jail?
To realize their mistakes.
Punishment.
Yes, to reform themselves. Rehabilitation. That is what is. Actually, it is a punishment to reform. Okay, so that they will not commit such activities again. Similarly, for our reformation, we have been sent from the spiritual world to the material world. Okay? So this place, especially when we get the human form of life, we have to utilize in the best way. How we can utilize it? by making our consciousness into Krishna consciousness from material consciousness. Prabhupada often says, best use of the bad bargain. Okay, we have to make the best use of the bad bargain. What is the bad bargain here? Anyone knows?
Prabhuji, I'm guessing it's material consciousness.
Not exactly. Yes, material consciousness is also right, but this is not what I expect.
Okay.
Best use of the bad bargain. The bad bargain that we have got is the material body. Okay, we had a spiritual body. We were enjoying there. Just like the children are enjoying the company of their parents at home. But they are very stubborn. They want to go out and play in this, hot sun or heavy rain.
Prabhuji,
Yeah.
maybe it's like you said, bad bargain is this material body, and we can use this material body to get out of the material world and go back to our spiritual place.
Yes, Haribol, exactly. So the bad bargain is the material body. Now make use of the same body and go back home, back toward it. Just like the children at home, they are, enjoying with their parents with all opulences, everything, whatever they need. But sometimes, no, I don't want to be here. I want to go out. And they will go to the outside world and they don't get what they want. They'll be, kicked by Maya, left, right, and center. When they're fed up, they will come home because there's nobody to feed them, take care of them. Similarly, we also think, okay, there is a better place. I want to become the master. I want to become the proprietor. So let me go out and be the proprietor or master, lord over the material nature, enjoy. With that attitude, we come here. But unfortunately, when we come here, we understand that we are just like prisoners in the jail. We don't have freedom. We are suffering this material world. So now, since that we have got this human body, make use of this human body in the best possible way and go back home, back to God. So this is the best use of the bad bargain. So we are all servants. Everybody is servant. Is there any master here? Who is master here in this material world? Is there anyone who is not serving others? Yes or? Is there anyone who is not serving others?
No, Prabhuji.
Everyone is serving someone or other, isn't it? If there is nobody to serve, if they think that there is no God, I don't have anybody to serve, at least they are saving their own senses. So there is no one in this material world that who is not serving others. So always having the position of a servant. The children are serving the parents are serving the children. Husband is serving wife, wife is serving husband. The government is serving citizens, citizens are serving government. So everybody is serving one or someone or other. Okay, so our position is servant only always. So why not serve the Supreme Lord, who is the proprietor, controller, enjoyer of all the spiritual and material worlds? Actually, the service should be directed to him. When he is served, everybody will be served automatically. Because every one of us are his part and parcel. That is how we should become a servant. We are trying to exploit the resources of material nature, but actually we are becoming more and more entangled in our complexities. Now, for our sense gratification, we are trying to exploit the resources of material nature. We are drilling the earth for oil, for water, for so many other things, minerals and everything, isn't it? How much pain we are inflicting upon the Mother Earth. We are cutting the trees. Okay, we are reclaiming the seas. So many atrocities we are doing in the name of sense gratification or comfort. So what happens when we exploit the material nature? The material nature will punish us. How will she punish us? Kuvira?
Natural disasters, Prabhuji.
Yes, exactly. By natural disasters and calamities. So we should use whatever, or we should take whatever we are supposed to take. We should not encroach on others' property. We should not take extra even 1 inch. Then we are called thieves. So every one of us have been allotted a particular quota. More than that quota, we are not supposed to take. Suppose we are working in office. We have been given a particular salary every month. Can we take more than that from the company?
No, Prabhuji.
Yes. If we take, we will be punished, we will be put in jail, we will be fined, we will be fired, right? Similarly, each one of us, the human beings, the aquatics, the animals, the birds, everybody, they have got their own quota. They are enjoying that, except human beings. The human beings, they want to take more and more, even though it is not required. Okay, just for example, if you throw a bag of rice on the road, the birds will come and take whatever it can take in its beaks and fly away. Okay, and if a man passes by, what will happen? He will take the whole sack of rice and go and store in his stores. Isn't it? So is it good or bad?
Bad,
Yes.
Prabhuji.
Yes. So we are taking more than what is required. Just like animals, they don't take that more than what is required. So we try to amass, acquire more and more. So we are not keeping our quota. We have to keep our quota. Whatever quota is given to us by the Supreme Lord. If we maintain, every one of us, if we maintain that principle, I will not take more than whatever is required. Then there will be no scarcity in this material world. Everything is available in abundance in this material world. The Lord has given for every one of us, human, the aquatics, the beasts, the birds, the worms, everybody, enough food. But unfortunately, each one of us takes more than what we require. That's why there is an imbalance in the society. There is no proper distribution. Some are starving, some are enjoying. This is the disparity that we see often in this material world, isn't it? So that's why we are again and again trapped in this material world in different species of life. Sometimes we take birth as human beings, sometimes we take birth as animals, sometimes aquatics, sometimes birds, sometimes trees. So this keeps going on. So if we stick to this principle that I will take whatever is allotted to me, I will not harm other living beings, okay? Live and let live. They are also children of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So why to harm them? We should not harm them. Though in that case, we are living a civilized life. So they are called Aryans. Those who are civilized human beings are called Aryans. Okay? They will live a simple life, humble life, without disturbing the environment, without disturbing the other living entities on this earth. So we also have to live in a disciplined, regulated way. Then we can become a devotee. So first of all, before becoming a devotee, we have to be a civilized person, a human being. Now, unfortunately, although we are in the form of human being, our behavior is not on that level. We have animalistic propensities. Okay, so we have to come out of these animalistic propensities and we have to live as human, because we are human beings. We should not be called Dvipada Pashu, two-legged animals. Isn't it? So this is what is required from every one of us. If we lead a life like that, definitely we can be called as a civilized human being. Otherwise, we'll be called as beasts or animals with 2 legs. Animals have 4 legs. We have 2 legs. So what's the difference? What's the big deal if you are behaving like an animal? So this illusory struggle against material nature can be stopped at once by revival of our Krishna consciousness. So when we revive our consciousness from material consciousness to Krishna consciousness, we can stop the struggle in this material world. Okay. So first of all, we all have to become a civilized citizens, cultured human beings, then follow the Shastras, become a pure devotee, and go back home, back to Godhead. So this is required. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare is a transcendental process for reviving this original pure consciousness. Okay. So here it is very clearly said, this is our original consciousness. Okay, but unfortunately it has been dominated. By chanting this transcendental vibration, we can cleanse away all misgivings within our hearts. The basic principle of all such misgivings is the false consciousness that I am the Lord of all I survey. Okay, so what's the problem here with all of us? I am the Lord of all I survey. So I am the master, I am the boss. I am here to enjoy. Only for me, I, me and mine. So from this consciousness, which is called material consciousness, we have to come out and situate ourselves in Krishna consciousness. So that is our original pure consciousness. Okay? Always thinking that I am the part and parcel of the Supreme Lord Krishna. My duty is to serve him. When I serve him, all his part and parcels will also be served and satisfied.
Now, but do you mean like we will if we do like we become like we say that we are masters, like instead of we are just servants, we are like the servants of Lord Krishna.
Yes, we are servants of Lord Krishna, but unfortunately we don't behave that way. That's why the scriptures are given for us to understand and live as per the instructions of the scriptures. Okay, so we may sometimes know theoretically that we are servants of Krishna, but we don't live like that. So time and again, we have to be hammered by Shastras, Guru and Sadhus. Okay, just for example, the teacher tells the students, please study and come, please study and come. So some students will study and come, some of them won't. So what the teacher will do?
The teacher will punish the students who didn't study properly.
Yes.
Not punish.
Yes, if they don't, at least they will give some imposition, right? Or make the student stand out for 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Some teachers even beat. So that beating is because the teacher is angry? No. Doesn't like the children? No. The teacher wants you to become a good boy or good girl, obedient student. So similarly, we are all trying to follow this after getting hammered again and again by Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. It's not that we do not know, but most of us do not know in this material world because they think that this world is just for the enjoyment. But fortunately, we who are following this Krishna conscious activities know that this world is full of sufferings and miseries because we are trying to lord over the material nature. We are trying to become master although we are servant. So we have to come out of this box and revive our Krishna consciousness, original Krishna consciousness. Okay, so when we hear this transcendental vibration, this consciousness is revived. So this is the best method to revive our consciousness. What's the best method? Chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
So what will happen when we chant this mantra? Kuvira.
Our Krishna consciousness is revived, Prabhuji.
Krishna consciousness is revived. How?
If we chant it, it gives us the
Transcendental feeling.
we can attain liberation, and also we'll get more Krishna consciousness, right, Prabhuji?
How will it work when we chant?
We will purify our heart.
The mind, like purification of the mind.
Yes. So because we are chanting, it will purify our mind, our thoughts, our words, our activities, and ultimately our
Our heart.
Yes, our consciousness and heart. So that will enable us to attain. So this Hare Krishna Mahamantra is so powerful. It will purify our contaminated consciousness, our thoughts process, okay, our speech, our deeds, that means our activities, and the total existence will be purified. So this is how we can revive our contaminated material consciousness. The simplest method of meditation is recommended for this age. By practical experience also, one can perceive that by chanting this Mahamantra or the great chanting of deliverance, one can at once feel a transcendental ecstasy coming through from the spiritual stratum. Okay, so when we chant with attention, without any offenses, we can really experience the ecstasy of chanting. Because this Mahamantra is not some material sound vibration. Golokera Premadhana Nama Sankirtana. This has directly come from the Goloka Vrindavana. It's a spiritual vibration. It's not material vibration. So that will very, very easily revive our consciousness, material consciousness, provided we chant this Sada always. Even when we are doing other activities within our mind, we can chant. And ensure that we don't chant with some offenses, without any offenses, and at least whatever we have, 2 rounds, 4 rounds, 10 rounds, 16 rounds, that we should attentively, without any offenses, we should chant. Okay, I hope all of you are chanting every day a prescribed number of rounds. Right? So that should be an exclusive commitment. You know, this is a personal meeting by me with the Supreme Lord Krishna. So there is no entrance for anyone during this time. When I'm chanting early in the morning, whichever time I'm chanting, this is a very important meeting. I cannot spare this time with anyone. So ensure that you take such a time, there is no disturbance. So the best time is which time for chanting?
Early morning, I think, Prabhuji.
Early morning, Brahma Muhurta. What is Brahma Muhurta? Which is the time?
4 a.m.
4 a.m. Exactly how can you calculate that?
Morning time 4 a.m. 3:45 to 6, I think. 6 o'clock.
It is, to be precise, it is 1 hour 36 minutes before sunrise.
Okay, Prabhuji.
So it is based on sunrise. 1 hour 36 minutes before sunrise is the Brahma Muhurta. And one Muhurta lasts for how many minutes?
An hour, Prabhu.
What is that?
Half an hour.
No.
Four to 6 hours, Prabhuji.
No, not 4 to 6 hours.
4 to 6 a.m. 4 to 6 a.m. is like 2 hours, which is 120 minutes.
Now, one muhurta is how many minutes?
One muhurta, sorry.
1 second.
No. Prabhuji, I think around 1 hour.
It is 40 minutes.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Okay. So the muhurta, the Brahma Muhurta starts exactly 1 hour 36 minutes before sunrise. So we should do all our spiritual activities as far as possible, the chanting and other things in the Brahma Muhurta. Why in the Brahma Muhurta? What is the so speciality?
There is no noise in universe, so we can direct contact with Lord.
There is no, what is that? I didn't get you.
There is, yeah, there is no, all peaceful environment is there. That's why
Yes.
we can connect direct to Lord.
Yes. So it is a very auspicious time. Why? Because there is no disturbance, no telephone calls. Okay, no children. When all are sleeping, no disturbance. Okay, so it is very peaceful, and it is the early morning hours is called Sattva Guna. It is in the mode of goodness. Okay, it is the mode of goodness. So any activity that we do in the mode of goodness brings good result. Okay, so we should try to chant our prescribed number of Hare Krishna mantra. When?
In Brahma Muhurta.
Mornings, Prabhuji, it's peaceful.
How many of you are doing that?
Not exactly early morning, Prabhuji, but yeah, in the morning itself, before, after,
12.
not after 12. Before breakfast, Prabhuji.
Before breakfast, what time is it?
Around 7:30, not 9.
What time you are getting up?
Prabhuji at 7:30.
7:30. Okay, I made a mistake. It is not 40 minutes, it's 48 minutes. Okay, and there are 50 muhurtas in a day. 48 into 30, how much? It is same 24 hours coming. Can you, Shyam, can you check that? "48 minutes is one muhurta. Multiply by 30. Is it coming 24 hours?
Yes, Prabhuji.
1440?
24 hours. 24 hours.
Yes. So it is it's not 40 minutes, 48 minutes muhurta. So 30 muhurtas is one day. Okay, so please try to chant, start chanting in the early hours of the day so that it brings more benefits. And especially one more thing I want to tell here today, because today is Purushottam, the starting of Purushottam Mass.
Yes, yes, Prabhuji.
You all know that?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So, the spiritual activities we are doing, any spiritual activities, chanting, reading, worshipping, any spiritual activities that we are doing during this Purushottam Mass, it brings 1,000 more folds benefit than doing the same activity in any other month. Suppose you are, giving 1 rupee to a Brahmana or Vaishnava to the temple. So the benefit you will get, as good as 1,000 rupees giving charity, because 1,000 fold benefit you are getting. By 1 rupee, you are getting 1,000 rupee benefit. So if you chant 1 round, it is as good as chanting 1,000 rounds. So try to do more and more chanting and reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, glorifying the Supreme Lord with different prayers. So we'll get multi-fold, thousand-fold more benefits in this particular month. From today to October 16 is Purushottam month. Okay, so please keep this in mind and try to do more and more austerities during this month.
Prabhuji, we will try our best, Prabhuji.
Very bold.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
It is more benefit from month of Kartik.
Yes, thousand times more
Hare
benefit than,
Krishna Prabhuji. It is more benefit from the month of Kartik.
yes, 1,000 times more benefit than the Kartik Mass. You know, Kartik Mass we are getting 1 to 1,000, okay, and this
Okay, Prabhu.
we are getting 1,000 to another 1,000. That means 100,000. So that is the significance of Purushottam Mass. Okay, so as such, this chanting should be heard from the lips of a pure devotee of the Lord, so that immediate effects can be achieved. As far as possible, chanting from the lips of non-devotees should be avoided. Milk touched by the lips of a serpent has poisonous effects. So in brief, we should avoid the association of non-devotees. The example is given. The milk touched by the lips of a serpent has poisonous effects. Even the full glass of milk, 1 drop of poison is enough, isn't it? So we should avoid the association of non-devotees. Okay. The word Hara is a form of addressing the energy of the Lord. Krishna and Rama are forms of addressing the Lord himself. Hara is addressing. When we address, it becomes Hare. Okay, Hara is the internal potency of the Lord, but when we are addressing, it becomes Hare. So that's why the Mahamantra is called Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Only 3 words. Hare Krishna Rama. This is repeated, isn't it? Okay. So the material energy called Maya is also one of the multi-energies of the Lord. And we are also the energy, the marginal energy of the Lord. So, who can tell me how many prime energies are there in the Supreme Lord? Who can tell me?
Prabhuji, is it Hara?
Sorry, Prabhuji.
How many?
Sorry, Prabhuji. Again, repeat it.
How many energies are there? Prime energies for the Supreme Lord.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
One is external energy and one is internal energy. Internal energy Goddess Lakshmi and external energy Goddess Durga.
Internal energy is Lakshmi and external energy?
Goddess Durga, that is Maya.
Okay. Okay, any more? One more is there.
Actually, Prabhuji, I did not.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Marginal energy, that is we.
That is?
We are in that living entities in the material world.
Primarily there are 3 energies: Antaranga Shakti, Bahiranga Shakti, Tathastha Shakti. Or in English, it is said as internal energy, external energy, marginal energy. So Antaranga Shakti means internal energy, that is all the spiritual world. Okay. And Bahiranga Shakti is the external energy, is all the material creation. Marginal energy is all the living entities, which includes all of us. So these are the 3 prime energies of the Supreme Lord. So we come in which energy? The living entities?
Marginal energy.
Yes. Why it is called marginal energy?
Because we have both that dilemma. Sometimes we will be good and sometimes we will be in Maya.
Yeah, okay. So we have a choice, we have an option. we are on the margin, just bank of the river. We can either go to the river, in the water, or we can be there on the land. So we are on the margin. So it is our choice whether we have to remain in this material world or go to our, original place, that is the spiritual world. So that's why we are put in the marginal. Okay. So please learn this. There are three energies: Antaranka Shakti, Bahiranka Shakti, Tathastha Shakti. Internal energy, external energy, and marginal energy. And the living entities are marginal energy. The material world is the external energy. Spiritual world is the internal energy. Okay?
Prabhuji, what is Antaranga?
Antaranga Shakti is internal.
Okay.
Okay, now the living entities are superior to material energy. When the superior energy is in contact with the inferior energy, an incompatible situation arises. So we all know we are not the body, we are the spirit soul. So that's why it said the living entities are superior to material energy. The material energy is made up of what?
Prabhuji, all the wants and desires in the are the material energy.
What are the elements? That is our body. You're talking about the body. What are the main elements of the material nature or material energy?
Panchatattva, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, is it
Panchabhuta.
Yes. Which are those?
Air, water, fire,
Prithvi,
earth,
Vayu,
and
Rapo, Annala.
Okay. Haribol. So, earth, water, fire, air, ether. These are the five gross elements. So, material energy is mainly made up of these five material elements. When the superior energy is in contact with the inferior energy, an incompatible situation arises. So, this superior energy, what is the superior energy here?
Krishna consciousness.
No. What is the superior energy? The superior energy is in contact with inferior energy, an incomplete situation arises. So what is that superior energy here?
Spirit, Prabhuji.
The spirit soul.
Yes.
The soul is spiritual in nature. It's not material. We are all souls. Unfortunately, we have got a material body. That's why it is that an incompatible situation arises. The soul, which is spirit in nature, gets a covering of matter. So is it a compatible situation? Suppose there is a very precious jewel. We are putting in this trash bin. Is it a compatible situation? Is that precious stone is supposed to be in the garbage bag?
No,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
It's not, right? It should be on the crown of a king, or on the necklace of a very high personality, isn't it? The place is
Yes.
not dustbin or garbage bag. Similarly, the spirit soul, we are all spirit soul by our nature, and that is covered by matter, which is totally incompatible. So the situation is not very comfortable. But when the superior margin energy is in contact with the superior energy, hara, it is established in its happy, normal condition. So this margin energy, that is the human beings, okay, the spirit soul, when we come in contact with the superior energy by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. What is happening? We can re-establish ourselves in a happy, normal condition. Now we are in abnormal condition, isn't it? So we have to come back to our normal condition. Why we are abnormal? Because we are in the material world. We are covered with a material body. This spirit soul is suffering this material body. When we get back, when we go back to the spiritual world, we'll get a spiritual body. There is no matter there. Matter means jada, no consciousness. If this soul leaves from this body is matter, it has of no value. So what is giving strength to this body? The soul, which is invisible. We cannot be experienced, we cannot see it, we cannot touch it. But that is what is giving consciousness to the body. Okay, so we have to establish this happy normal condition by chanting this Hare Krishna mantra. And by purifying, we can go back home to the spiritual world where we'll get a spiritual body. It's a very, very compatible situation. So this is the process. So these three words, namely Hara, Krishna and Rama, are the transcendental seeds of the Mahamantra. So these are the three words, and these are the transcendental seeds, Divya, of the Mahamantra. So the Mahamantra consists of 16 words and how many syllables?
32.
32.
So 36.
32.
36.
No, 32. 16 into 2.
36. 36. 36, Prabhu.
36. Now, 16 words, how many syllables?
Sorry, Prabhuji.
4.
Hare
Becomes
Krishna.
16 becomes how many syllables? Hare is 2, Krishna is 2, Rama
Yes.
is 2. So how many syllables?
32.
Yes, 30. So 32 syllables or 16 worded Mahamantra. Okay, so this is consisting of, this Hare Krishna Mahamantra consists of the three words mainly, Hara, Krishna and Rama. And these are all transcendental seeds of the Mahamantra. The chanting is the spiritual call for the Lord and his energy to give protection to the conditioned soul. So why do we chant? To give protection to the conditioned soul and helping us to get back home, back to Godhead. This chanting is like the genuine cry of a child for its mother's presence. Mother Hara helps the devotee achieve the Supreme Father's grace, and the Lord reveals himself to a devotee who chants this mantra sincerely. So this is a sincere call of a child to his parents, requesting Hara, the internal energy of the Lord, to please take me to my Supreme Father. It's a sincere call. Or in other words, the meaning is we are requesting Radha and Krishna. Hare is Radharani and Krishna and Rama both addressed as Krishna. So we are requesting Radharani or internal energy of the Supreme Lord to please engage us in your loving devotional service so that we can escape from this encagement. We are caged here, just like the birds are caged, just like the animals are caged with no freedom. So we are also caged in this material body. So please revive our consciousness and save us from this encagement and call us back home, back to Godhead. So this is a request to engage us in their loving devotional service. So this is the meaning of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Oh Mother Hara, Radharani and Krishna, please engage us in your loving devotional service. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. So I will read this one more paragraph, then discovery and understanding application will do the next week. No other means of spiritual realization is as effective in this age of quarrel and hypocrisy as the chanting of the Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. There are so many, questions. So even if we go fast, it will not be completed. So I will not hurry up. We'll go through this discovery, understand, and application next week. Okay. So Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
So next week, please remember, we'll start from the discovery onwards, module 4, week number 4. Okay. Hare Krishna.